Today I'm working on a Stihl MS-193T chainsaw. This saw will not start. I'll take you through the process of diagnosing the issue and repairing it. We'll start with a quick inspection of the air filter. Looks great. Spark plug. Spark plug looks excellent and has good color. Next step in two-stroke diagnosis is a compression test. This is done with the choke off, throttle held in the full throttle position the entire time, and pull the saw over until the compression gauge needle stops rising. We get 105 psi, which is way too low. It should be 120 or above. So we know there's something going on with the cylinder, most likely. And the fact that it's making this much compression tells me that it probably has had a seizure of the piston rings on the exhaust port side of the cylinder, and the rings are trapped in that location. So we'll disassemble the saw and see what we find with the engine. I'll start by removing the bar and chain. That'll give us access to this muffler. We'll take this off next. Like all Stihl equipment, it's assembled with T27 Torx bits. This will allow me to inspect down inside and take a look at what the piston looks like. And as suspected, scratches on the piston through the ring lands and the rings on the exhaust side of the piston. That's due to running a low oil to fuel ratio mix in your saw. They get hot on the exhaust side because they're rebreathing their mixture, and it cooks the exhaust side of the piston. So we'll take this engine out, take it apart. First step is removing the starter side cover. Again, T27 Torx bits. These are a lower line of saw, so they have a separate engine and not an engine that's part of a crankcase assembly, so this can be removed as a unit. Quick disconnect of the coil. I'll take this top cover off. Just pry it off with a screwdriver. It lifts off. That exposes the hose routing and the boot for the carburetor. Carburetor can come off next. The nuts are 8mm. Carburetor cover. And then the base plate. Now we can take the carburetor off. Before taking the carburetor off, release some pressure from the fuel tank, otherwise the fuel lines will just set and spew fuel everywhere. And take the choke lever off by pulling it. There's linkage back in here for the carburetor. That gets released next. Easiest if the carburetor can just be pulled straight out. And then unhooked. We now have the carburetor boot around this area of the handle assembly. Clutch assembly next. Use a reverse thread. So use your impact gun in the direction that tightens and it'll spin right off. Drum, needle bearing, the driver for the chain oil pump. We'll take the cover off. With the teardown at this stage, you can see how the little engine is built. It has a little crankcase pan. These are only glued on, and the failure of these saws is typically that the glue seal fails here. They begin to leak air into the crankcase, they run lean and burn themselves up. They also won't hold idle. They won't restart when they're hot, and it is always because of the failure of this glued seal here. So many times if you find a saw in that condition, all it needs is to have the pan removed and to be glued back in place with an anaerobic sealant like Yamabond. I'll take the oil pump off next. And we'll just leave it attached and keep it out of the way. Now you can see the red sealant that the factory uses to build these with that fails. The only job remaining is to free up that air intake boot. It has screws hidden underneath this cover. They are also T27s. There is a third screw in the back corner here, so the handle needs to come off. We can unclip the boot from the handle and lift the handle out of the way. Take the guard off. Then we'll have access to this third torque. We can now see the condition of the piston. And if we move it up and down, we can see that the piston is also scratched on the intake side. Good indicator that somebody was running the wrong fuel mix. There are 4 engine mounting screws, 2 here and 2 on the bottom, tucked away in there. For difficult screws like these and muffler screws, I use this big T-handled T27. And once they're broke loose, then I can use the electric gun on them. Now we can slide the engine out. That'll expose the pulse hose fitting. That's what feeds the carburetor fuel pump with a pulse from the crankcase. And the engine will slide the rest of the way out. And we'll take these 4 case bolts out, and then we can pull out the crankshaft with the piston. And again, these are very tight, so I use my green T-handle on them first. Red silicone. So we can extract the crankshaft assembly along with the piston. Oh, look at the damage. So that's intake side. And over here on the exhaust side, absolutely cooked. So here's a better view of the intake side of this piston. As I simply wiped the piston off with a paper towel to take this photo, the ring snapped in half. Here's the exhaust side. Burned up. As you'd expect, the cylinder inside has a lot of aluminum transfer from the piston and is slightly gouged. So this engine is done. Time to start rebuilding the engine. I have a new steel piston and cylinder kit to go into this. We'll get that old piston off of there, get the crankcase bottom cleaned up, and get the engine put back together. First task is removing the piston. So we'll pick this wrist pin retaining ring. The pistons are directional, so I'll make sure that when the new piston is installed, the transfer port is facing that way. Now we can pull the piston off. The new kit comes with a new wrist pin and a new snap ring. Put a little engine oil on that wrist pin bearing. And a little engine oil on the wrist pin. Arrow side labeled on the piston. Get the pin started. And then finesse it through that bearing to the other side. And then we can put in the retainer snap ring. These are always a challenge because they are a tight fit and you have to trap them with your finger so they don't fire off the side of the piston and become lost. Once in, go around, press it into place to make sure it's in the groove, and then inspect the other side. Make sure that one is in the groove. If one of these were to come out with the saw running, it would destroy the new engine. So with that assembly finished, we'll clean up this pan. Okay, with the pan all cleaned up, it's time to put the engine back together. We'll start by prepping the piston, engine oil on it. Make sure that the ring gap is on either side of that ring retaining pin. And then steel is kind enough to give a little fancy ring compressor. So we can work that down over the ring. And now we're ready to put that into the cylinder. Same prep for the cylinder. A little bit of oil. We're going to orient this the correct way. That's the intake port. That faces up. Spark plug facing up. Engine flywheel on this side. And then we'll press the piston in. Now with the pistons in, we'll pick out the ring compressor and then cut it off. I use 3-bond to seal these engine cases. So we'll put some 3-bond on the surfaces right now. And we can set the crankcase in position. Get these seals squared up. And now we can put the pan on. Pay attention to this screw hole here that's not shown on the side of the flywheel. And that's the engine built. Now we'll take a few minutes to reassemble this giant jigsaw puzzle of a top handle saw and get it up and running again. First step is to install the engine in the saw body. And once set in, we can get these mounting bolts aligned and then tighten those down. I've got these set in just with my finger until they clicked into the holes, and now I'll put a little bit of thread on them And then we'll flip over and do the top side. And again, getting them started just by hand. I don't want to use the power tool on them until I know they've started to thread into the cylinder. Now we'll tighten up the bottom. And continue on with the reassembly. We'll start by attaching the impulse hose. And then the shield for the cylinder. Curved side goes up. There's a slot here and a slot at the bottom that this rides in. Magneto is next. We'll leave it loose so we can get a card in there and set our air gap. Magnets are pulling the coil tight. So now we can snug up our fasteners. Then check our gap and our rotation. Flip the saw over and working on the other side of the saw. Put on the oil pump. We'll put the shield on next. These are just threading into the plastic housing, so I'm not using a lot of torque on them. I'll put the driver on, spin it and make sure it's connected to the worm gear inside. A little oil, needle bearing, clutch drum, making sure that the sprocket engages the lugs on the driver. We have this sitting flush now, so we know we're engaged, and I can look behind it and see. Clutch shoes, lug side facing upward, reverse thread, so spin it like you want it to loosen. It'll spin its way down, and we'll hit that with an impact gun. We'll put these chain rails back in place. We'll do this one after we set the handle in. Intake duct goes next. I'm going to hand start these because they're going into a new cylinder. And then the retainer. And now we can install the handle. These fuel hoses out of the way. This will come rearward. Lift the boot up. Get it lined up with the opening. The handle will drop down. And from behind, we'll get this boot flexed enough that it can start to move through. And the boot starts looking like that. I'm using a very old, dull screwdriver to gently pick at this, and it'll come into position here as I just finesse it around. And I'm able to do that without damaging, and I'm not using a lot of force, and that blade on this is not very sharp, so it makes the perfect installation tool. I'll get that more circular in a moment, but first I'll work on putting the handle in its mount. There's a lower mount here. It's going to go underneath the body of the saw. In this rear area, look at these hoses. Need to be moved up through this opening here, and then this will line up. And then at the front of the saw, that mount will drop down into that portion of the body of the saw. We'll also be making sure the position of these fuel hoses starts to go back into all the channels in the body. fuel tank vent hose routing and the fuel supply hose routing through the rectangular opening in the bottom of the air filter housing handle area. The vent has this special flared end on it and just presses in place and snaps in. The rear mount takes this special screw. The top and bottom mounts for the handle take these standard screws. And the second guide for the chain presses into place. Flip the saw around and through the bottom put in the final mount screw. Give the starter rope a pull. Make sure those starter pawls aren't hanging up before you start tightening any screws. We'll go a little bit at a time here and test the starter. That's engaging, so we can snug it up. Again, these are just into plastic, so they don't take a lot of torque. I'll put the top shield on next. Lines up there, lines up back here, and the other side is flush. We'll put the muffler on next. The carburetor is next. It goes on with this breather facing rearward, choke lever facing to the left, fuel return hose here, fuel inlet pipe here, and we have this linkage piece which goes like this, hooking through the orange tab and then coming down and hooking through the carburetor to provide action like that. So I'm going to hook the linkage and then hook the carburetor on to the linkage. Move that fuel return hose out of the way. Set the carburetor onto the mount studs. Slide the carburetor on. The fuel inlet pipe will line up with the pipe that's in the body. And then the return hose can be attached. Choke is next. There's a flat section of that choke shaft that lines up with the flat section inside. So we'll put the handle facing down. We'll get that further on in a moment. And put the air filter base on next, and then the intake cover. And our choke works. It's still sticking out too far, so we'll get it pushed all the way in. Spark plug is next. Little copper anti-seize. Air cleaner next. And we'll put the bar and chain on. Steel bars oil through these small oil holes. This allows you to rotate the bar so that you're wearing on both sides of the bar at different times, so you don't wear out just the bottom. But that hole lines up with the oiler opening there. So before you put a bar on, always blow through these with compressed air, both sides, and then blow out the channel. So we'll set this on so the opening in the bar goes over the bar adjustment pin, and it'll set here nicely. It's usually easier to turn the adjustment screw counterclockwise, moving the pin rearward. That'll give you more slack when you go to put the chain on. The chains go depth gauges first, teeth second along the top of the bar. So we'll go around the clutch and sprocket, lay it on the top of the bar. Now release the bar and slide it back a little bit. Put the chain around the nose of the bar, trap the chain, and bring the bar back out again. So now we're back on this pin, and we have a very loose chain, which is okay. We'll snug it up a little bit, and then we can install the chain brake. When you're tightening these nuts on the side of a chainsaw, bad idea to put a lot of pressure with your hand on this side, because when you slip, your knuckles are going to go into the chain. I'm just snugging it up right now, but when I go to the final rotation, I'll bring my hand over here. That way if I slip off, I'm not hitting that chain. That's a little snug. Now we're going to test run it and readjust it. And that's the rebuilding of a Stihl MS-193T. I hope it helps you out. Thanks for watching.